Hello everyone, it's Sharie from Sharie's Painting. So we're going to be painting Christmas Country Road today. What you're going to need is a 9x11 canvas. I am going to be using the colors pink, white, black, and brown. I think those are the only colors I'm using in this painting. And I've got a 1/2-inch flat brush. I'll be using a small round brush and a liner brush. So the round brush I'll call a medium, and the liner I'll call small. You'll need water, you'll need paper towel for washing and drying your brushes. I usually have 2 cups of water, one for rinsing the paint off and one for sort of cleaning it up. And I think, and chalk, you'll need some chalk as well. So for this step, what I'm doing is applying the light gray mixture to the top. This is going to be a really soft little painting. So I'm applying the light gray to the top, then the pink more toward just underneath it, and then white in the middle. Then I'm going from the base of the painting and doing the same thing. So the gray, the pink, and the white. And then I want you to blend it all together so you cannot see where one starts and the other stops. I'm using my 1/2-inch flat brush to do this, and if you want the paint to flow a little more smooth, you can dip it, your brush, just dip it in a little bit of water, and it allows your paint to flow a little bit more smooth. So also don't spend too much time in one spot because you'll lift the paint off, and we don't want that happening, and we don't want cut marks. And do your edges, and then maybe put it on an easel because mine's sliding everywhere, and then we will see you on the next step. Okay everyone, so for this step I am using a 1/2-inch flat brush, and I'm dipping my brush in the burnt umber by itself, and I'm just dabbing my brush this way and that way, turning it straight up and down, turning it on its side, you know, depending on how I feel. I just want some background trees here in the distance. I don't want them to be the same sizes. I don't want them to be the same shape. I just want them to be all in a row. I'm starting about a little more than a quarter of the way down the canvas on the left-hand side and ending up about halfway on the right-hand side. So just really soften this up. We don't want any hard edges here. Just rub out, dip it, and then keep going with it until you run out of paint, and then just soften what you've got, and we'll see you on the next step. Okay everyone, so for this step, I'm taking the burnt umber and the black, dipping my liner brush in water, and we're just going to make a whole bunch of tree trunks, okay? A whole bunch of trees back there. So, or the limbs of the trees. And we're going from one end of the canvas all the way to the other. Once again, I don't want them all the same height. Some of them are going to be lighter, some of them are going to be darker, some of them are going to stick out above what we've painted there on our trees. And you know, if you've got a shaky hand, then this step is for you, because you know, having that shaky hand really helps with the character of these tree trunks. So just wherever you feel, and you know, put some in front of the other, some right beside the other, some sort of in the distance. Do them however you feel like you should, and don't worry too much about structure. Just be really free with this step, and you know, I just want some filler in the background here. So just wherever you feel like, start on the right, start on the left, start in the center, and then just keep adding, and just see where you know, feel like you need to add some more. And feel free to add as many as you want, because when we look in the distance at this painting, there's lots of trees here in the background, and you know, but it's this is it's an up close painting, but we still need to have the filler in the background. So again, just dip your brush as much as you want and make lots and lots and lots of these little trees in the background, or these and little branches coming from here and there. And then we are going to be going on to the next step. Pause the video if you need to. That always helps too. Then you're not in such a rush. We'll see you on the next step. Okay, everyone, so for this step, what we're going to do is add another layer onto our trees. So I've mixed pink and brown, so just made it a little bit lighter with that little pinkish color in there. And I'm just dabbing onto these trees here, onto our existing foliage, okay? I don't want any hard edges, so make sure that you're letting that brush run out of paint before you add more. And then we want it to completely dry before we add the third layer, which is the pink and the white and the brown mixed together. So it's just a little lighter. Dip your brush once, let that paint run out, okay? And so that it's nice and soft, but I don't want you to overdo it. I still want some of those branches peeking through there so that we can still see in between. It gives it more of a 3D effect, okay? So just nice and soft here is what we're looking for. I'm still using my 1/2 inch flat brush to do this. So, and then what I'm going to do is dip in that same mixture, and I'm just going to take the strokes from the bottom of the trees, and I'm going to go in between some of the trees as well. And my stroke is going off to the right, okay? And I dipped it once, and then I'm going to follow it down to about 1/4 of the way down, and then I'm going to dip again, but I'm going to actually dip it on my paper towel before I go onto the canvas, because I still want that darkness at the front of the canvas, and I just want it to really slowly run out, okay? So again, it's that same soft pink, white, and brown mixture, and just really rub it out or paint it out, because we want this snow to be super duper soft here, okay? We don't want any hard edges. So I think I've done that twice. I think I start again. Yep, I do. Start again at the top, and we will gradually bring it down to the bottom, dipping once, and then just letting that paint run out into the bottom of the canvas. And then once you've done that step, and let that dry, then we are going to be going on to the next step, and I will see you all on the next step. So now for this step, you're going to need your chalk. We're going to draw some fence posts, okay, all along that tree line. So I probably draw them. The first one is got more of a gap than the others, and they start taller on the left and they go smaller to the right. So then what I'm doing is I'm taking my black and my brown and my small round brush, and I'm dipping it in water, my brush, and then I'm going to mix the brown and the black together and almost make it like an ink-like consistency, just like what we did with the branches and the tree trunks in the distance. And then we're just going to make one pass, okay, or well, maybe two, on those fence posts. And basically just want it to be this one little step. And then we're going to do those fence posts all the way along, straight up and down, just like that. Don't worry about your chalk marks. We can rub those out later. They'll be rubbed out anyway by the time we get the highlights and everything on the posts. And then we're going to go across the top as well of those posts. And some of them I make straight and some of them I make to the side. I'm not really worried about, you know, I don't want them to be all straight because we want them to look like they've been there for a while and they're a little bit weathered. And I'm going right off the edge of the canvas on both sides. And then we're going to put another one toward the bottom of the post. And again, don't make them all straight. We kind of want them a little bit on the crooked side. Some of them might be placed a little bit different. And then once you've done that, we'll see you on the next step. So what we're doing for this step, I'm just taking the chalk. You'll need your chalk. Go from the base of the fence posts and just draw a line off in that direction. And then from about a quarter of the way up to the canvas toward the fence posts, to about halfway on the canvas. Then what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of the brown mixed with a little bit of the white, and I'm just highlighting the right-hand sides of the fence posts a little bit, just adding a little extra lightness there just to make it fade away a little bit. And don't forget to do the tops as well, the slats of wood at the top. And it just adds a little bit of dimension onto those fence posts. It's not necessarily snow yet, but just where the light might be hitting. Don't spend a lot of time at it. Just be free about it. Do the bottom ones as well. And then what we will be doing, and also just to let you know, reload your brush, fairly often, and just twirl your brush around into a point, and then that should go fairly smoothly for you. We'll see you on the next step. So for this step, what we're doing is we are just going over and we're making a little bit of snow toward the base of the posts up to where our chalk line is. And I've used a mixture of the pink and the brown together, just a little bit darker. And I'm not going in a straight line. I'm going in a really bumpy line just to indicate snow there. And we just need that darker layer of snow underneath. Doesn't have to be straight. Don't want it to be straight. So you can go over that line and just bring it right to the last post there. And go over it several times because I don't really want any hard lines here or hard edges. So just soften it up as best you can. Then I'm going into the mixture of brown and white together. And I'm just giving those posts a little bit of highlight at the front. And then I am going to pick up my Filbert brush actually and go over the snowbank. So just go over it very lightly at the top. Don't kill all your dark. Just go over it very, very lightly at the top with some white snow. Your round brush will work fine for this as well. You'll find that you'll have a brush that you're comfortable with, and that's what you'll end up using. So for me, it's the Filbert. I love that brush. So, and then we're going to make some more snow piles in the center of the road. And it's going to go off perspective off to, the halfway point or midway point on the canvas on the right-hand side. On the left, it'll be a little bit lower than that. And we're going to make one more. And again, go over them several times with just the pink and the brown just to soften it up and make it nice and smooth. And those will be the ruts in between the snow piles. Now I'm putting water with white on my liner brush. I'm going to go in and give those posts a final highlight. And this really makes them come alive in here. And then I'll probably be adding a few little pieces of grass and stuff too at some point, but not quite yet. So do that on the fronts as well as on the other side or the top of the wood, and then go over again with the light white and pink on the ruts on the road, and then finally just white on the top of those posts. And then we will see you on the next step. Remember, guys, you can pause the video anytime to try and catch up a little bit because I am kind of going warp speed here. So, okay, we'll see you on the next step. Okay, so I am adding, we are adding a big tree, and it's going to be a birch tree. So I'm going with a mixture of really light brown. So the brown and the white mixed together, and I'm just laying out the foundation because I just wanted to figure out where this birch tree was going to go and where it was going to hang out in our painting because I'm doing it all on the fly. So I decided I'm going to have it right there. So that's your bravery test for this painting. But just make it a light brown color, and then we're going to go in. I'm going to show you how to add the details onto this birch tree. Don't worry if your fence posts and your fence is showing through it this time, because there's going to be quite a few layers on here. And I put a big branch there, but you can put, whatever you like on yours. And then once you've laid that in, then we're going to go on to our next step. Okay, everyone, so for this step, I'm adding a little bit of white, more white to the birch tree, okay? Just putting on a little layer here and just making it show up. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen birch trees, but they're one of my favorite trees because they, first of all, they have pictures in them, which, the black spots in the trees, they all, I see things in it, and I don't know, embrace my weirdness, I guess. But so I'm going in with a little bit of white there again, another layer, and then I'm going back in again to those snow drifts in the back and just adding a little more white to the top, a little more highlight, and setting those posts right down in the snow there. So, and I also go in and do that on the snow drifts in the center of the road as well. And I only wanted to do the one layer on the tree for a second, just until I establish the snow drifts, because I don't want those running into my tree. So, so do those. Also, what I do is I am putting a fine layer of snow on the chalk mark that we've made here at the bottom, and also just dabbing in the center there between the snow drifts. And then going into that, getting rid of that chalk mark, but just a really fine little layer of the white paint there. I don't want anything too heavy just yet, because I haven't really committed to what I'm doing with the bottom of the canvas yet. Again, I seem to have this issue when I do my paintings, but anyway, I will figure it out. So just a really fine light dusting of snow there on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is go back in again on the birch tree with the white again, a little more white this time. It's had a little bit of time to dry, and using a fairly thick paint here, but it's still mixing with the brown, so it's still got a little bit of color to it. And don't forget about your branches too, because they are part of the tree and they have to fit as well. We got to make it look like it fits together. So then I'm going into the brown and black. I'm still using my Filbert brush here, I believe. Yep. And I am just haphazardly going on that tree with black and brown. And here's the shapes I'm talking about. So be very free. They're just going to come off your brush, okay? Don't spend a whole lot of time in one area. Just go up and down. You're not committed yet. We can still add or take away at this stage. So, just wherever you feel like those black and brown marks should be. Some of them might be darker in some spots than others, and just do whatever you feel is right for your tree. And then what we're going to do after that is I'm going to go in with the straight white, but we'll just finish up this tree here first. And the branches, I haven't committed to the dark yet, but I will after, probably on the next stage. But for now, I'm just worrying about the tree trunk here. So when I'm done this part, I'm going to go in, I'm going to rinse off my brush with water. And then I'm going to have a dry brush, and I'm going straight into the white. And I mean, I have got a lot of paint on the end of the brush, And I am going in, and we want most of that white on the right hand side of the tree, because that is where the light is hitting. And, you know, I cover up some of those marks I've made, and it still shows through even though I've covered it up, because it's another layer, and it's layer after layer after layer. I do add a little snow to that branch as well, and it just makes this tree just pop right out of the woodwork, so to speak. So do all that, do wherever you feel is necessary. And don't forget about your branches. We'll add the darker spots to the branches later, but add the highlight for now. And then we will see you all on the next step. Okay, so what we're going to do now, or what I've done now, is that you're going to need your chalk, because we're drawing fence posts now that are going across beside that birch tree. I'm also adding another birch tree to the left of the first birch tree. So just make a little line that goes up to the side there of that birch tree, and then put your white in, and then just add your blacks and browns in there, and just to indicate that birch tree. Once I've done that, then we're going to, I lay in a little bit of snow at the base of the birch tree, and just to set it down a little bit, but we're not done in there quite yet. But add a little bit of snow. I apologize. I had some technical difficulties with my video. It was a bit of a nightmare, but I did get it figured out. So I wanted to actually post this yesterday, but I'm not going to get to post it till today. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in or paint in those other fence posts, just using your black and your brown mixed together. And I'm just using my small round brush to do that here, and just make them go right off the page. And we will be adding a tree on the right hand side as well, but just paint in those posts for now. And then we'll add the slats of wood going across this way and that way. It's going to be really pretty when it's done. So continue to do that. You know, don't spend a whole lot of time at it. Just let it just come off your brush. And, you know, maybe you don't want your fence posts quite like mine. You might want something else in the front there. Feel free to do whatever it is that you would like to see. It's your painting after all, and you can do whatever you like in it. The other thing I want to mention is, if you are liking my videos, please do like and subscribe, and share them with your friends if you like. You know, because my goal in life is to let everyone know that they can paint, and it's really important to me that that people, even if they've never painted before, they can paint. It's, you know, it just takes a little bit of practice, and you know, if you follow along with the video, hopefully you're getting some good results. That's all I can say. So please do like and subscribe, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So, okay, so carrying on. So make sure those slats go right off the edge of the canvas there. And then we're just going to add a little highlight to the front with the light brown and the white mixed together. We're just going to highlight the front of those posts a little bit for now. And then we are going to lay the post down in some snow. And I like to have the snow come up on the post too. So make sure you do your slats of wood there as well. Little highlight on the sides. I'm not worrying about the ones at the end too much, because I like I said, I'm going to be adding some trees there. But so, and then I just take my brush and just add some snow against the posts there, so that they are set down a little bit. And we will be adding grasses and things in there as well. I have mixed a little bit so that it's not pure white, but I do want it to be quite bright up here, and we're going to make some snow drifts and things. And, you know, just scatter your brush around that area, And you know, don't do it all white. Leave some dark spots in there as well, in the front of the post. So and then, so once you have done that, and please do slow down the video if you need some extra time, because I've got it sort of in fast mode here. So if you need some extra time, please do slow down that video, so that you can take your time and, you know, and do it the way you prefer to do it. So just laying down that snow in front of the posts. And once we're done that, then I will be adding a little more highlight to the front of the posts, with the white and the brown as well. We're not quite done those even after this step. So let's just finish that up, and then we're gonna go on to the next step here right away. We're gonna lay in some trees there. So I'm just fixing up the birch tree a little bit, again putting a little more white on it. And once you've made your necessary adjustments on that, then I will see you all back here again on the next step of the painting. Okay, everybody, another bravery test. So I've mixed green and hunter green and black together, and we are going to make a big, huge pine tree here. And so I want you, this pine tree is going right off of the canvas, okay? Just like the birch, but it's going right off the canvas, and I want you to start it thin at the top, thicker as it gets to the bottom, and we're going to have it go right off the canvas from the top and right off the canvas from the bottom. And that way it pushes everything back, okay? And it just adds distance in there. So right off, and then I'm also going to add another little tree beside it, and it's going to be on a bit of an angle as well. So I've thickened it up a little more at the top because it's going right off the canvas because it's right there in front of us. And now I'm going to add a little bit of a tree, and it's more on the slant, this pine tree. And it's quite a bit shorter. And please don't worry about killing your trees in the back because it's all good. And we're just going to add that one in. And then on the next step, this one won't go quite as far as the first one to the bottom. But then on the next step, we're going to highlight or add another layer to those trees once they've dried. And so we'll see you on the next step. Okay, everybody, so for this step, we're highlighting the trees. I'm just using a lighter color green, and I'm sort of mixing in the darker green and the lighter green at the same time, just to give it a little more depth and a few more layers. But you can do what you see fit here. The trees that we've put there, they really do push everything back. So, but we definitely, want this extra layer on there just because it'll look better when we put the snow on. You'll see later on that I actually put the snow on and then put some more green back on. So we all make mistakes as artists, and we all critique our work, and so don't think that that you're the only one who does it. We all do it. So sometimes we do things over and over and over, and when really we should have just left it alone in the first place. But so anyway, just adding that green on there, and then I will be, I believe, going back to the posts. The posts here, I'm going to be adding a little bit of highlight to the front of the posts. Plus, I'll be adding more snow to the bottom there. So here I'm going to be going at the post and adding a little snow on the top of the post there. just to just as a first layer. And also I'm also adding a little bit of a few little black notches here and there, just to give it a little bit more depth, another layer. And so, take your time on this step and do what you see fit with the posts too. Maybe you might want to space them apart a little more than mine, or whatever the case may be. I was already committed, so it kind of I kind of had to go with what I had. But so now I am just again adding a little highlight to the posts and the slats, just along the front there. Another little layer, and also along the boards across. I hope you guys like this one. I really like it because I grew up in northern Alberta, and this was the sort of scene that was all the way around at in the winter time. So I just really like it. I liked the little outdoor scenes, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. So again, adding a little more white, just another little layer on there. And then we will be going in and adding some snow, and adding snow to the trees as well. Another little highlight. Oh, and I'm also adding a little more black to the birch trees. And now I'm just lining up that snow below the posts there, just to set them down a little bit more. I'm going to be making a big snowdrift here in the front as well, because I feel like I just needed a bit more of a snowdrift there. And I love these little snowdrifts. I think they're so cool. So there it is. And so just a little snowdrift, and it'll be highlighted on the right, and I will add some darker tones to the back of it. And you always have to remember that your paint dries darker than what you put it on. So now I'm just adding some grasses. I'm using the liner brush to do this, and I've mixed black and brown together, and add water, and make it an ink-like consistency, and then it flows off your brush a little easier. So I'm just adding little patches of grass here and there. And it's not really going to have leaves on it because it's pretty cold. So just a few little patches here and there. And then I'll be going in and adding it under the birch tree as well. And around the post to set them all down. And then I add a little bit of white and brown as well, and add some more little grasses. Now we're going in. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so I had my Filbert brush out, and I thought, oh, I'll just put the snow on with the Filbert brush. And I found that I put way too much on, and I didn't like the way it was coming off my brush. So I was just not having a good painting moment, I guess. But so anyway, I do go back in here after this is a bit, I go in once more with the Filbert brush, and then again, I'm back to the post. So just back and forth here, waiting for one to dry. And then I thought I'd go back in here, add a little more white. So if this is you, don't do this. There's way too much white in here. And to add insult to injury, I go back in again with my round brush, and I add in even more white to those trees. But anyway, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to change all that. So now I'm just adding some more snow, setting down those posts. And I'm going to add a little gray to, or a little shadow to that drift in the front, drift of snow. Okay, so now I'm here again with my round brush, and I'm adding more snow to this tree, this poor tree. He's pretty snowbound, but as you'll see later in the video, I do fix him up. So you don't have to do this. You know, use your white sporadically instead of all at once. So this is a boo-boo on my part, but that's okay. I will fix it up. I just found that I added too much, and you know, and then when I looked at it again once it dried, I was not very happy with it. So I do go in and fix it up after I sign my signature, but I'll go through that with you as well, how you can fix it. Fortunately, it's acrylic paint, so we are able to, you know, fix any boo-boos that we have, really, with the acrylic paint. So and then once I'm done putting all the snow and covering that up, what I do is I just go in and dab those little grasses and things, just here and there with the round brush. Thick paint I'm using there too, so that you can see it. And don't forget the ones on the birch tree as well. I'm also doing the posts again, adding a little more snow, giving them a little more depth, and adding snow to those drifts in behind, because those have kind of gotten lost in the painting here. So adding again to the top of those posts. And then I'm going to go, I believe, and add a few little cracks and things on the posts with the with the liner and the black paint. And then one more little highlight on the front of those posts, just to make them stand out just a little more. I love my fence posts, actually. And I'm just adding a little more highlight to the front of that snowdrift. And now I believe I am signing my name on here. And I'm not sure. I think I'm just showing it off there. And then I go in again, and this is where I go back in and add more green back to that tree, because I just think it's too light. So I add more darks, more lights, light green, but just more greens in general. And then I also go in and I add some grasses and things underneath the tree, because it's going to be a little darker in between those trees. And also I'm adding some branches onto the birch tree, so just to give it a little more oomph. As in hindsight, after I looked at the painting for a minute, I thought it needed a bit more on that birch tree. And then I go in with a little bit of black there, just to make it sort of fit. And again with white to make it fit a little bit more. And then I low light the back of the tree with the black a little bit. Make that branch really stand out. Put another one in the front there. And along in the back. And then I go in with a little bit of white there too. and fix that up a little bit just so it looks like it belongs. And then finally, I'm going to go in with a little bit more white on the, or I'm adding the grasses first in between the trees there. And like I said, you guys, pause the video, stand back from it about 6 feet, and you'll see what you need to do. Honestly, you will. Your creative brain will spring into action for you. So here I just felt like it needed something in between those trees, so I just added some more grasses and things in there with the black and brown paint. And then I go in with the white and just dab those as well. And then finally, I just add a couple of bright spots, just a couple, on that tree. And that is it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. You've learned what to do and what not to do all on the same video. So thanks for joining me. And it's Sharie from Sharie's Painting signing off. Bye for now.